Into our Stay Woke segment with none other than Miss Mahogany. What you got for us today?
What's up, guys? It's Miss Mahogany bringing you a dose of awareness today. So, let's talk about domestic violence, y'all. So, when you hear about domestic violence, we think about, the most common type of abuse like physical abuse, someone hitting someone or, forcing drugs or something like that on them. So that's most common that we always hear. But we don't tend to talk about, more of the other types of abuses that actually goes on. To name a few of them are like, emotional and mental abuse, economic abuse. Those are things that a lot of people don't even talk about. So when it comes to emotional and mental abuse, that's where you get the name calling, the consistent criticizing, people, whoever you're victimizing, as well as economic abuse. That's when you actually are having someone like a victim that lives with someone and they don't actually work. So for example, if you get a woman that she stays at home but she's being abused, and pretty much her husband or boyfriend or whatever, he pays all the bills, so she's pretty much financially depending upon them. So when you look at that, you think about, what can she do if she don't have the financial means or the resources to even do anything about her situation. She really feels helpless if she doesn't. So that type of abuse, people don't really look at as consider domestic violence, but it really is. Domestic violence also has been going on for a very, very long time, in general. So pretty much, however, right now it's definitely spiked up so much because of the domestic violence complaints that they're getting through the hotline.
1,000%.
Yeah, it's definitely up. It's up because people are in the home during this pandemic. So when you think about, being in quarantine, you there with your abuser. Just think about if you're being abused by someone and all of this pandemic going on and you like literally have to stay in the house, and there just things is going on and you don't know what to do. So that, that's something that, people really need to think about, and that's why it spiked so much. That's why it's on a rise and why they're getting so much calls. But this social isolation is pretty much basically most common for abusers, because they basically can take advantage of this, when you have people in the home,
That's scary. So they're taking advantage of this particular, because that person is there. It's like they're the outlet. They're the outlet for all of the anger, for the stress,
exactly.
And the pandemic is not helping because they'll stress you out talking about COVID every 20 seconds.
Exactly.
How they tell you that something new can happen in a different way. If it's on your shoe now, it can get on your elbow, and don't breathe. So it just, that's stressful in itself. So I could just imagine that being the case. Well, we got ready for the call.
Okay, yes. So we actually have a very special guest, Miss Michelle. She's actually a domestic violence survivor, and we're gonna bring her on a call really quickly, and she's gonna go ahead and tell you a little bit about herself. So go ahead, Miss Michelle. Go ahead and come on the line.
Well, hello. Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
We can hear you. How are you doing?
Okay. Well, I am well. So hello to everybody. Hello to all of your listeners. Thank you so much for having me on today. I definitely appreciate it. And so, what do you want to ask me questions, or you just want me to get right into?
I want to. A lot of times, people don't know how to get themselves out of a situation with domestic violence, and this doesn't necessarily have to be physical. It could be mental or economic, however, whatever method that's used to do the abuse. And since you are a survivor, a thriving survivor, I want you to tell people how you got out, and what made you know it was time to get out. So if somebody is listening and they're dealing with that they can learn from you and maybe utilize that energy to help themselves.
Okay, well, let me tell you first. Right now, I'm 52 years old, and so my domestic violence started way back when I was 15 years old. The very first incident I ever had of a man balling up his fist and slapping me over a couch, I was 15 years old. And that pattern lasted up until I was probably 20 something years old, of every person that I have met. So I tell you, I'm a multiple survivor, because when I would leave one abuser, I would find the next. It seemed like I was a magnet for men that abused women. And so basically, in married, and ultimately into marrying an abuser as well. And ultimately, for me, and let me just say this too, because I was not raised where there was not a structure in my house. I was raised with mother, father, grandmother. And I want to say that I was raised in middle class. I want to say that because people tend to think that this only happens in a certain place.
Correct.
Low self-esteem and abuse happens everywhere. It does not have any discrimination. Okay.
Yes.
And so for me, when I was with my husband, I don't want to tell all the things that I did because that's a dangerous thing to do. However, I will leave information at the end for people to get in contact with me. But I will say this, it has to start with you. You really have to start with you and make that decision that you deserve more. And you have to look also, if you have children, it was my children that when he started to abuse my children, that was the last straw for me. There's a way to discipline, but then the abuse and the rage. So for me, that was it. I had to fight for my children's lives. And that was the final straw for me. The first time that I seen that he abused my children was the last time he had the opportunity to abuse my children. Because for me, I was like, if we can move furniture all day, but when it came to the children, that's what woke me up. Okay. And another thing I want to be noticed, I did not have a elder woman. At 20, coming into adulthood, already broken, my mother passed away. So I didn't have no elder women. And what I see in my community, once I moved into the projects, was this was normal behavior. And so as a young woman, and when you're seeing everybody being hit, you think that that's normal behavior. Yeah. And I want to let you know, if you're listening, that's not normal behavior. I want to let you know that that is not love. Love does not hit. Love does not hurt. Love does not take your money. Love does not put you down. See, we have to understand the true essence of love. And once you understand that, what we're actually subjecting ourselves to is a pseudo love, then you understand that that's not love. That is not love. And so for me, it was the love of my children that made me decide I have to fight. And I have to find my way.
And
financially, everything.
Once you found that way to the reason to fight, how did you fight and get out?
I moved. I left everything. I made the decision to move across. I packed everything up and left. And when I came to California, there's so much of my story. At one particular time, being so young, I actually went back to my husband after 8 years of separation. I came to California. Within 6 months, he began beating me again in front of my children. I packed up and I left to another part of Sacramento. I ended up homeless and didn't know anybody, and got on the system, went enrolled in college, graduated, got off the system, and started just, doing whatever I had to do to, and I want people to hear that, use the system to get the help that I needed, and got off the system and made a career for myself.
Nice.
So many of our young girls get on the system and stay there. No, we have to break that cycle, and that's why I do what I do. That's why I became the mentor. Is I have walked out so many different stages and phases and understand the mindset of my young sisters, and I never forgot where I came from. So I have turned around, wrote books, curriculum, and I have programs for my young sisters to now help them get through and transition so that they have a blueprint and they understand. Because it really starts with, you have to just know that you deserve more. And nobody can turn that on for them. they just have to know that they deserve more,
Awesome.
and that it is not normal. It is not normal.
Will you do me a favor, because we're talking about resolutions for it in a minute, which we're going to be giving some outlets and information for people that might be experiencing this. Can you give your information in case somebody is on that might want to reach out to you and discuss how that they can get out of this situation?
Yes, they can reach me on Instagram at Miss Michelle Mentor. That's MSMICHELLEMENTOR. My email is transitioning2, that's transitioningtwo @gmail.com. And then Facebook, you can also find me at Miss Michelle on Facebook, or my name, Michelle Broadnex, MICHELLE, Broadnex, BROADNAX. And if there's somebody that is in really dire need, they can, reach out to me, and I will respond quickly.
Thank you so much for taking the opportunity to come on and share your story with us. We appreciate you, and we look forward to working with you going forward.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to speak to your audience. And just remember, love does not hurt.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, guys. So we thank Miss Michelle for definitely letting us know. We really appreciate that you taking the time out to talk to us about that, for sure. So you see there that there's a lot of people who experience abuse, but they don't report it. You know, this is where we run into the real issue where victims are scared to say anything. So, you know, people, you know, some people actually, you know, they think, you know, wonder why we don't actually, you know, if someone's being victimized, why they don't actually go ahead and get out of their abusive relationship or seek help or something like that. You know, they don't really understand that leaving can be complicated sometimes. So some of the reasons, like Miss Michelle said, that, you know, some of the women or men, whoever's involved, they actually feel like this is a normal thing, you know, or lack of money or resources, you know, feeling embarrassed or shame to their family or friends, or low self-esteem.
Why do you think that would be the case? Because I'm sitting here thinking, like, if I had a sister or a brother that was getting abused, why would they be embarrassed to tell me so that we could try to help them? Like, where does that shame come from? I don't understand. It's one thing to get abused, but how are you going to be embarrassed for it? Like, you can't control what somebody's doing.
I think that the embarrassment and shame could come from where, especially if they come from a really good family. Like some women seem to, or men that may come from a really good family, right? So they been in a structured family where they don't really see all that. So when they got into a relationship like that, that became something, an embarrassment to the family, to their self. Like, I feel ashamed to even be in a relationship like this because I know I don't come from that, you know, or they may feel like they were abusing, like black eyes and things, and they don't want to come around people, feel ashamed to come around. So I think that could play a part too.
That's scary. People being abused, there's nothing embarrassing about it. And if you were going to be embarrassed about something, it's hiding it.
Yeah.
And not seeking the help that you need. But there's absolutely no reason for you to be embarrassed about someone hitting on you.
They feel ashamed. I think
spirit.
They feel ashamed.
That's a spirit, and I speak against it.
Because, you know, like sometimes you may have someone, they told someone to say, yeah, they doing so much, and then they got involved, a family member got involved, and then all of a sudden they went back to the person again. You know,
I mean, I've
stuff
seen
like
that. I've seen that.
And they just stopped saying anything.
I've seen
you
that.
know, so stuff like that.
And now recently, I'm seeing stuff like a lot of posts on Instagram with women like slapping men in the face and punching them, and then they're like, "Try to leave me. I'm gonna put you on child support." You know, that's domestic violence.
And then some people don't share with their family because they're not close to their family.
That's true.
You know?
That's so true.
So what about? It would, like, for my friends that I'm cool with, it would like kill me to think that any friend that I have, and I don't call people friends lightly,
right?
That think they couldn't come to me for some type of help with any of that. And I'm pretty sure that your friends feel the same way. So I'm thinking that that's just an inner thought.
Yeah.
And people get in their own heads. You know, because the one thing that happens when you get by yourself, you get isolated,
Right.
you get depressed, you get destroyed. That is the job of the enemy, to get you by yourself. You when you get yourself around other people, they're going to speak life into you. They're going to stand you up. They're going to support you. So the mindset to think of telling my friends or family is embarrassing is only to keep you isolated so that you can be
Yeah.
destroyed.
I'm pretty sure that also, like, when you got abusers that are like emotionally, mentally, abusing them, and also making them fearful to even say anything, like, you better not say anything to so and so or something like that. And to that point, they mentally, like you said, depression and anxiety, all that happens,
Yeah.
where they just don't even feel like they need to tell anyone anything.
Yeah, brainwashed.
Yeah, brainwash. Exactly, it's a great word for it.
Well, tell us about some solutions to this in case people are dealing with this and we're looking for outlets to get out.
Definitely make sure that you contact Miss Michelle as well. On her IG was Miss Michelle Mentor on IG.
We'll post it on
Yeah.
the Instagram page on ATL Shift. If you're not following us on IG, we're at ATL Shift. We'll post some of the resources from the show on there for you guys to review.
Exactly. But definitely, so, whoever's listening out there, and if you're dealing with domestic abuse, or someone that is actually dealing with this, you gotta go and get help. Seriously, go get the help that you need. You can actually get help through the National Domestic Violence Hotline. You can contact them by 1-800-799-7233, or you could go to the website at thehotline.org and tell a friend, tell a family member, somebody. You definitely need to tell someone if you're going through something like this. This is Miss Mahogany bringing you a dose of awareness on domestic violence. You have a great day.
Awesome. We'll be right back, guys.